My name is Brian Barcelona, president and founder of One Voice Student Missions, author of the Jesus Club's book. One Voice Student Missions is a nonprofit organization that has existed for over a decade, and we've had one mission: to see students saved, discipled, and sent. I'm excited to share with you all that God's been doing over this last decade, what He's doing now, and invite you to be a part of this vision. See, our history goes back to 2009 when I was preaching in this small Bible club in Northern California. Little did I know that small Bible club would lead into many clubs that would sprout out in our city. One particular, the next year that followed in 2010, would actually grow from 6 students in 1 month to 600. We began to train churches all across the country in the past years in Los Angeles and across different states on how to start their own Jesus clubs with One Voice. We had seen nearly 15,000 students gather on a weekly basis. I tell a lot of these stories in my book called The Jesus Clubs. And after this decade, right, this book was a decade in the workings. After this decade, we all entered what we would know as 2020, this year of just wildness. This year where there was so much uncertainty. As schools across the country began to shut down, we began to dream, what would it look like to take everything we've done online? What would it look like to hit YouTube and Instagram? If you've heard of TikTok, Facebook, what would it look like for us to not just hit the natural space of missions, but hit this space of digital? We like to say digital missions. And that's what we did. In June, we did an event this past year, June 2020, called Gen Z for Jesus Online. And we were like, man, what would it look like for young people to gather, to pray, fast, and to share their faith? Over 20,000 young people gathered in June, and thousands of young people began to text in, either to join the movement or to give their lives to Jesus. And since the start of our digital missions, we have been seeing young people discipled on a daily basis. I've been hearing testimonies of kids that have been walking out their faith, testimony of kids that have been coming out of having thoughts of suicide or really struggling with their walks with God. They're now being strengthened on a daily basis. We've also seen this last year in 2020, a tour that launched. We went from in the month of October, we went from Dallas all the way to Miami. And we've seen on that tour over 657 salvations. We've seen multiple healings, multiple baptisms. One guy even drove off the street from hearing the music and got saved and got baptized. And we've seen from that tour 60,000 streams to 28 nations. Why? Gen Z wants Jesus. Now that I've shared with you our vision, what's gone on, the wild stuff this year, I want to share with you our goals. But I just don't want to share with you. I want to invite you to partner with us financially into these goals. See, one of the biggest goals we have, and we feel what the Lord is asking of us, is that could we believe and see 1 million young people come to Christ by 2022? What does that mean? That means that they are going to make a public confession of their faith. They are going to be disciples of Christ. I want to invite you to partner with us for what we believe is the most relational digital discipleship platform ever. We have a text number that young people are texting on a daily basis, whether they're battling suicide, depression, they need prayer, they have questions about their faith, or they're getting saved. So now that you've heard our goals, our vision, our mission, I want to invite you to become a monthly partner with One Voice Student Missions. Here's one way you can do that. You can go to our website, www.ovsm.com/give. There you can find easy ways to sow into One Voice on a monthly basis. I also want to invite you to text the word give. If you just want more information on what does it look like to give, what am I giving to, or maybe you have other questions, there's going to be a text number below. You can text the word give to that number. I also want to invite you to read this book, The Jesus Clubs. Jesus says this. He says that where our treasure is, so our heart lies. Ultimately, we know that where you sow, that's where your heart's going to be. Would you connect your heart to our story? Would you go and read on the wild things that God's done in this last decade, but know and believe that this was only the beginning, that this was the beginning of what we're seeing now? Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for taking the time to sit and watch this video. And may God bless you. May He bless your family. And may we join this journey together to see youth reached in this nation and the nations. God bless you.